So this year has been quite a struggle for me with flight sim. Something or the other kept messing up. First my PC, which caused a whole host of problems I don't want to get into, and then Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, with Sim Update 2 being one of the worst updates for me across the entire flight simulation lineup. However, I am happy to report that we're past most of that. I finally managed to get my dream flight setup looking exactly how I'd like it, and I've got to say I'm pretty happy with it thanks to one particular set of products. So today, as the title suggests, I wanted to review Wingflex's excellent suite of products to show you how it perfectly complements my flying experience, particularly when flying Airbus birds. We'll be taking a look at their Wingflex FCU Cube, which allows you to get full autopilot and auto throttle control for various Airbus aircraft in flight, with a special focus on the RMP Cube as well, which to my knowledge is the first radio and transponder multifunctional unit of its kind, and finally of course the beloved box or MCDU for the Airbus A320, A330 and A340 family of aircraft, which are soon to be coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So make sure you hit a like on the video if you enjoy what you're watching, and subscribe to the channel for more such reviews, full flights, and flight sim news going forward. So then, let's start things off with the unboxing experience then. All of Wingflex's packages do come in a neat little dedicated box with good foam packing to protect the internals. The foam is also indented and cut to ensure the knobs and protruding bits don't get bent or anything like that. Inside the box, you'll also see an instruction guide as well as a cardboard box with some parts to screw on to get the right height adjustment for the cubes, like you're seeing on these sideways shots here. This allows for the perfect height that you can actually access the cube when you're actually using it. The MCDU also comes with an adjustable stand with screws, but as you can see, I have mine bolted upright with some 3M tape. That's just personally how I like it in my setup. Now, when it comes to build quality, I do have to say that Wingflex does a really good job with their products. Everything from the rotary knobs, the switches, and the buttons does a great job looking and feeling extremely realistic. The entire chassis is also made out of pure metal, so there's no cheap plastic design to be found on the entire body of the actual unit itself. Even where plastic is used, like on some of these rotary dials and stuff like that, it is implemented really well, with full functionality for pushing and pulling the knobs, just like the real Airbus, to go from managed mode to open climb mode or anything like that. I'd also give a shout out to the button engineers who made the autopilot AP1 and AP2 switches so clicky. It's really quite nice, and I really do like it. On the MCDU, the same standards apply. Full metal construction, really nice screen, and well-built keys all around to help plan and execute your flight. One thing I don't like about the keys, if I really have to nitpick here, is the amount of travel on them. Sometimes I do feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on the keys to be able to register the simplest of clicks, but I don't have a frame of reference for the actual Airbus MCDU. Obviously, I'm not a real-world pilot, so maybe this is realistic. Let me know down in the comment section below, all of you guys who have realistic Airbus experience. And of course, all of Wingflex's products can be calibrated and work very well with just a USB-A to USB-C cable. The Wings Bridge software then shows you what products you have connected as well once you're in your flight. You simply need to have the Wings Bridge software running in the background when you're in flight, and all products start working and sync up seamlessly with supported aircraft. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at these products in action then. Let's go ahead and program a flight from Doha Hamad International here in Qatar to my home city of Mumbai, India, aboard Air India 2290. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the cockpit of the Phoenix A320. Right off the bat, you can see that I've overlaid this little display for you guys to see. This is the RMP cube, and this is the FCU. We'll get over to the MCDU as soon as we need to program the flight. So first things first, let's go up to the overhead panel and get the battery switches up and running. There's battery number 1 and battery number 2. We'll also get the external power up and running with some of the pertinent switches that need to come on here. We'll get the nav light on, cruise supply on, we'll get the IRS switches up and running. And you'll see very soon that once the aircraft starts self-testing itself, the FCU is perfectly calibrated with everything that is happening on the actual screen. So you'll see the screen here comes alive, the self-testing is going on, and all of these switches are beeping and sort of flashing as required, and it's perfectly synchronized to add to that realism experience. As for the RMP cube, we can go ahead and simply turn it on by flicking this switch to on. As I said before, it's got that beautiful kind of pull back and push up gesture that is realistic with the Airbus. And with that all said, before we need to program anything in here, let me go ahead and switch over to the MCDU view so we can actually start programming the flight. All right, so let's first go ahead and import all of our information from SimBrief. There we go. I don't really care about the time as much, but that now brings us neatly over to the MCDU. And as you can see, it perfectly mirrors everything that's happening on the MCDU IC. So if I hit the FMGC button over here on the top, that brings us to the FMGC primary page. We can verify that we are indeed running the CFM56 engines. The AirX cycle currently is from the 4th September to the 1st of October, and we can go ahead and hit the init button. That takes us to the main page. Now, usually what I would do is I would actually run all of this data directly, or import all of this data from SimBrief, but for today's flight, we're actually gonna enter all of this data manually so that you guys can see. So, Oscar Tango Hotel Hotel, to Victor Alpha Bravo Bravo. There it is. And we're going to go ahead and go into the IRS initialization, align on reference, and then confirm that alignment. And I have to say, guys, there is absolutely zero delay between what's happening on the screen in front of me as well as what is happening here on the actual MCDU itself, from Wingflex, of course. We'll go ahead and return, and we will enter the flight number, which is Air India 2290 for today. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the entire flight management process being done on the MCDU, and you guys can watch. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the entire flight plan has now been inserted. Now let's switch back to the RMP cube and the FCU cube, because we're going to have to start talking to the radio courtesy of Beyond ATC. The ATIS frequency for Doha Hamad International Airport happens to be 126.850. So as you can see that there's two dials here, one towards the front that controls all the numbers past the decimal point, and then there's a dial towards the back that controls all of the numbers before the decimal point. So we have to tune into 126.850. 126 is tuned in there, and then we'll just tune into 850 right here. And we'll go ahead and press this to switch from standby to active, and let's go ahead and hit it.
Temperature 33, dew point 27, QNH 1005, VFR conditions, landing and departing runways, 3, 4 right, 3, 4 left. Transition level 150. Read back all hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information echo.
Okay, so we have our information. Let's go ahead and switch it back to standby, and now it's time to contact the departure clearance to be able to get our departure clearance over to Mumbai. Let's do that. Okay, so Hamad clearance is on 120.875. Once again, we'll just dial in 120 behind the decimal place and then 875. There we go. And let's go ahead and request our departure clearance. So,
Etihad 670 Heavy, ready to copy IFR clearance to Abu Dhabi.
We've been interrupted. And Air India 2290 stand Bravo 10 with information echo ready for IFR to Mumbai is filed.
Air India 2290, Hamad delivery. Thanks for echo, expect runway 34 right, Cupro 2 echo departure. Squawk 6746, contact ground 120.225 when ready for pushback or engine start.
Roger, ground on 120.225 for pushback and engine start, Air India 2290, good day. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch back to a standby frequency so we don't keep getting interrupted here. There we go. Now, the delivery controller didn't really give us any initial climb altitude, but from the charts that we have here, we see that all of the Cupro 2 Echo departures have an initial climb clearance of 4,000 feet, which we can also go ahead and enter right in here. So once again, the FCU cube comes in handy. You can enter the autopilot instructions right here, and if the aircraft or the air traffic controllers ask you to change the speed at any time, you can always go ahead and edit that here, and you can also go ahead and edit the heading. We're not going to do that right now. In fact, you know what? Just to make things interesting, let's go ahead and fly the runway heading for 34 right, which is going to be, let me just search it up here. It is going to be 336 degrees. So let's actually go ahead and tune that in. After we take off, we can pretty much switch this back to following the LNAV path. Alrighty, so with all that done, I think we are pretty much ready to depart here. Let's go ahead and request our pushback clearance. So first things first, let's go ahead and dial in 120.225, which is the frequency that air traffic control asks us to dial in. So 120.225 is there. Let's go ahead and punch that in. and we can go ahead and request pushback and start. So, and Air India 2290, gate Bravo 10, ready for pushback and engine start.
Air India 2290, Hamad ground pushback approved. Face south.
Roger, pushback approved, face south, Air India 2290, good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard our Airbus A320. Please pay attention to illuminated signs and crew instructions, including the following safety procedures. The safety card found in your seat pocket, and breathe normally. Hold the mask in place with the strap, pull on each side to adjust, put on your own mask before helping others.
And I know this isn't the topic of this video, but look at how active Hamad Airport is over on Beyond ATC. This is why I prefer Beyond ATC more than just live flying. If there's a Qatar Airways taking landing here, bit of a choppy landing, but it's definitely an A380 considering those double-decker windows we can see. But how nice is that? Beautiful. And Air India 2290, request taxi to the active.
Air India 2290, runway 3 for right taxi via Delta, Echo, Charlie Alpha.
Roger, taxi runway 34 right via Delta, Echo Charlie Alpha, Air India 2290.
Over to gate, Alpha 3 taxi via Alpha 11, Bravo, Alpha 6, Romeo, Juliet, Whiskey 4, Whiskey 1, Qatari 835 Super.
Now, we've also been listening to the tower frequency on the ground, so this is actually a great opportunity for us to just pre-tune the tower frequency for runway 34 right, which appears to be 118.525, as you guys just heard. So let's go ahead into the RMP cube and simply dial in 118.525, which is right there. Perfect. And we make sure we transition over from the standby frequency to the active frequency as soon as we're ready to go. And by the way, if you guys are wondering how I'm getting my skies to look so dark and like not super, you know, like flushed with a bunch of light like the normal Microsoft Flight Simulator is, you guys have probably guessed it already, but it is the magic of Rex Atmos. So I actually have my own flyby presets that you guys can check out. I have a full dedicated video coming to the channel about the way I'm using reshade, as well as Rex Atmos to be able to achieve my settings. It looks amazing during the day, dawn, and dusk, but I've also gotten this amazing look at night, which makes things look very dark and realistic as well.
2290, contact Hamad Tower 118.525.
Roger, tower on 118.525 for Air India 2290. Have a good evening. There we go. So we already pre-tuned that over on the RMP cube. Let's go ahead and switch over to it. Actually, it switches over to it automatically because I have Beyond ATC set up like that. And we'll go ahead and take a left turn here onto 34 right. And let's go ahead and request clearance. And Hamad Tower, Air India 2290, holding short runway 34 right at Alpha, ready to go.
Air India 2290, runway 34 right, line up and wait.
Runway 34 right, line up and wait, Air India 2290. Okay. So let's go ahead and get the landing lights on. Runway turn-offs on, takeoff on, wing on.
Runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 34 right, clear for takeoff, Air India 2290. Alright, let's go ahead and speed this up, get some more thrust in so we can get onto the runway and get out of here as soon as possible. There's some sort of aircraft over there, also on short final. Oh, nice. Okay, one more chime to the cabin.
Center on 126.7, Express India 774.
Terrain radar on, and weather radar on as well. And the final thing we'll do is on the RMP cube, we'll take the transponder on and TCAS to TARA here as well. Beautiful. Everything is good. And we will take the clock on. Perfect. And 50% thrust. Thrust established. Man flex. Runway, SRS, and auto thrust is blue. 100 knots checked. A little bit of wind here. There's V1. And rotate. Positive rate. You're up. Beautiful. And it's flying on the money as usual. It's going to be a right-hand turn, so we'll go ahead and set up LNAV. So no longer is it flying the selected heading as you guys saw. Throttle climb is set. Doha radar on 126.7 for Air India 2290. Good day. There we go. Let's go ahead and set up 126.7 on the RMP cube. 126.7. Now I usually get beyond ATC to handle all of my radio after I take off, but for the purposes of this video, let's go ahead and do it manually. So switched over. Let's first switch flaps up, and let's go ahead and contact them. Oh, first I should probably be taking this right turn. Doha radar 126. Doha radar, Air India 2290 with you through 2,000 feet. There we go. Still manually flying the aircraft.
Air India 2290, Doha radar, good evening, radar contact, continue climb to flight level 250.
Roger, continue climb to flight level 250, Air India 2290. Perfect. So let's go ahead and set the autopilot by simply going to the FCU cube here, and we'll also go ahead and set up run altitude 250. We can go ahead and engage managed descent by clicking this button in, or if you want to do an open climb, you can simply go ahead and select this backward, so pull the knob backward, and what that does, as you can see, is it activates open climb. For now though, I'm just going to push this back in and you'll see managed climb here. So there we go. But that is, ladies and gentlemen, pretty much everything that she wrote in terms of the RMP cube being showcased, as well as the FCU cube being showcased. As you can see, we can adjust all of the speed-related parameters over here. We can adjust all of the heading-related parameters, as well as the altitude, as you guys saw. So it comes in invaluably in terms of a flight sim help, having all of these tools available. Now, would I say that this is an absolutely necessary part of your setup? Probably not, especially if you're a beginner flight simmer. I would much rather invest in a yoke or a side stick, as well as some sort of throttle quadrant, as compared to just using some sort of, you know, PlayStation controller like I am here for certain things. I also do have like a proper side stick and yoke, just to be clear, but I would first invest in something like that. But if you're looking to enhance your flight simulation experience, particularly with Airbus products, I really don't think you can do much better than Wingflex in terms of both system quality, price, as well as just overall support that you can get from their excellent team over on Discord. Any problems I've had thus far, I've just been able to go and punch it into Discord. Either an official team member will reply, or it'll be, you know, another helpful member of the community that'll just get back to me and give me whatever I need. So it's fantastic, honestly, and I really, truly appreciate it. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of other products here on my desk right now that I would love to make videos on. So if you guys are interested, do let me know down in the comment section below, and I will be happy to oblige. But thank you to Wingflex for sending over these products to me. It's an honest, unbiased review, but I do have to thank them for actually sending me the product over for free. So thank you so much, you guys, and I hope you guys continue making awesome products. And of course, to you guys over on YouTube, thanks for watching, and thanks for flying by.